Hey everyone, my name is Colin, and today I'm going to be installing something really cool from Custom Dynamics. These are the new smart amber and red LED 1157 bullet turn signals that also have a built-in controller for strobing. So let's check it out. I like these as this is the first time that the 1157 rear turn signals can be upgraded to have dual color LEDs. Now red for the running and brake, and then amber for the turn signals. Now all the lights I have on my bike on the rear are only red. Now I dig the amber because it stands out more when making a turn, so I'm glad they came out with this technology. You really need a couple screwdrivers. One, I just have one of the Phillips to unscrew the bolt to get the seat off. And then you're gonna need a little tiny straight head screwdriver, and that's to put these actual lights in, or you can use a bigger one, doesn't matter. What comes in the kit are these two lights, the two smoke lens covers, and this smart turn signal module. Now, if you have the Custom Dynamics Magic Strobes already on your bike like I do, then you're gonna need to pick up this wide brake harness. Now, this harness does not come with a kit, and it's gonna cost you around $30. What it does is it gives you the functionality to have all your brake lights that are compatible with the Magic Strobes to have the different patterns. I wanna go over some specifics of these before I show you how to install them. As I just said earlier, these lights will illuminate red as a running and brake, then switch to blink amber. Now these have a cluster of 48 LEDs and are also DOT and SAE compliant. They're also halo free, and they come with this, as I said, a smoke lens cover. Now you can pick up clear covers if you'd like. I think they're like $9 or $10. Now I went with the smoked, even though all the covers on the rear of my bike are red. I'm gonna see how they turn out and see if I wanna go with the clear. Now what's really cool, it comes with this smart turn signal module. Now this is going to give you the choice to have 10 different brake flash and strobe patterns to these signals. Very similar, almost identical patterns to the Magic Strobes if you already have those on your bike. Also, if you already have the Probeam tri-bar light like I do, these will work on that as well. Some things worth noting though, this smart module will not apply the pattern to any 3-wire lights that are on your bike unless you have this thing right here, or you have the Magic Strobes in the wide brake harness. So for example, on my bike, some of the lights that are 3-wire lights are the saddlebag latch lights, the fascia ones, and what else can I think of? The plug lights. Now once we get to that part of the install, I'm going to show you how the Y harness in conjunction with the Magic Strobes to show you how the patterns work on all your lights. And one thing I was inquiring about with Custom Dynamics is, are these comparable to the Probeam ones that I have on my bike? And what they told me is these have like an internal lens to magnify light output that make them comparable to the Probeam. So what I'll do is I'll do a side-by-side later in this video to see how they compare. Now I know Custom Dynamics also makes the amber signals for the fascia panels and the sequential saddlebag lights. These though are just for the turn signals, and it's the only one that they sell at Custom Dynamics that has the smart module. So let's install these and see how they come out. The whole install is very simple. The first part of what I'm going to do is take out my existing one. So I popped off my existing Probeam light here, and then here's where you need the screwdriver. You just pop it in here in a little groove and then pop it out. Now if you're coming from an 1157 stock, good idea is to make sure to check to see if there's any dielectric grease in here. If there is, just get a Q-tip. There won't be any on this because it's an LED. Make sure you get that cleaned up before you put this new one in right here. And these lights that I'm talking about, they're gonna fit all 2014 to current US Harley models Street Glide Special, Road Glide Special, and Road King Specials. Hopefully I got that right. So to do this, the exact same thing, and just do it in opposite, pop it in here. And if it doesn't go in the first time, you just play around with it till it locks in. And then once I do see, just like that, it didn't lock in, so I flip it around, get the orientation changed a little bit, and it should go in just like that. See how it did? Then you're gonna coil the wire. So just coil it in, get it nice and clean, and then pop that on there. and then that's where you take your smoked cover and then just clip it right onto that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm only going to do one side of this because I want to give you guys a comparison to the Probeam and the new 1157 smart lights, and we'll see how those come out in just a second. There's a perfectly good explanation why all the wires look like this, because this is horrible, but I actually pulled them all out because I want to redo everything. Adding some new modules and stuff, I need to reorganize it. So we're going to ignore all these wires and we're just going to focus on this one right here. Now with the smart module, you have to take off your seat. I've obviously already done that. That's where I talked about the screwdrivers earlier. Now first, I'm going to only show you the install that we're going to be replacing just stock 1157 lights. Then I'm going to show you how to do it with the Magic Strobes. So it'll be actually two different installs. So I went ahead and disconnected all my lights except the main brake light and the tri-bar for, again, demonstration purposes. So for this, all you have to do is take the rear wiring harness, which is this right here. Good way of noticing, it's got the little Christmas tree. There's two of them. That goes to the front, and this is to the rear, and it plugs in right here. So you're going to disconnect these. And then what you're going to see is a male and a female right here. And then you're going to take your smart module. This is all plug and play. This is pretty self-explanatory. You're going to plug the female into the male on one side and then the male into the female on the other side. And that's how simple the install is. So let's go look at the lights, and I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison of the original Probeam one versus the smart 1157 amber LED lights. Hard to see with just a camera, but from the naked eye, they actually look very similar. The one on the left's a Probeam, and on the one on the right is a 1150 smart. From a side-by-side comparison, you can't really see a huge difference. Let's see what they look like with the brakes. From a brake standpoint, they are flashing the same pattern. And the one on the left, you kind of see how it's got more of a light in that center. And the one on the right is more spread out. We were talking about that internal reflector earlier that produces a little bit more light. But honestly, guys, just looking at them, they both seem they're about the same amount of brightness. So I will say the new smart light does compare to the Probeam. From a cost standpoint, if you were to pick up just the 1157 rear inserts and the Magic Strobes RSG, that's what this thing is right here, that's going to run you $130 for the lights and $100 for this Magic Strobes unit. This unit, however, is $200, and that includes the amber functionality, obviously the two lights. Now, if you add the Y brake harness, which is this thing right here with the little Y on it, so you have to label stuff, that's going to be $30. So in essence, it's the exact same price. Thing with this, though, you get the amber functionality. With the thing I just described, you don't. With this smart module, and on the back of it, it has this little knob right here covered with a plastic cover. And this is where you could choose one of the 10 different patterns. It's set up the exact same thing as the Magic Strobe, so you can play around which one you like best. Now, we're going to get to that later in this video. The way I have this set up with the Y, your Y harness, the start of it, remember I talked about earlier your rear wiring harness, the one with the Christmas tree, that's going to be your starting point. So I'm going to plug in the Y harness, and just to show you guys, that's the female into the male, and then you just attach that, and then you're going to have the two males right here. So essentially what you want to do, and there's a couple different options because I have a bunch of different products on my bike, but one side of your male is going to go to your smart controller, right? And so this right here is plugged into the smart controller, and then the other side of the smart controller, which is right here, is plugged into the other part of the rear wiring harness. So a minute ago I showed you, let's see here, so here's the female and here's the male. It's kind of hard to gauge all this. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. So again, smart controller, one side goes into one side of the rear harness, and then the other side plugs in to the Y, and the Y plugs into the other side of the rear wire and harness, right? And so that should leave us one male. And so we're that male, and that's where it comes into the RSG. Now, right now, my starting point is my sequential low profile rear lights, and that's this thing right here. It's with the turn signal decoder. Look, I even labeled it. That plugs in to my Magic Strobes. So I took my Magic Strobes on one end, plugged it into the sequential turn signals, and the sequential turn signals plugged in to the Y harness. Okay, so in theory, all this should work. So right now, this is going to control the 4-wire lights for the strobing, which is going to be your tri-bar, and that's going to be the, obviously, the 1157 amber turn signals. And then by using the Y, we're going to connect it to the Magic Strobes RSG, which is right here, and that's going to connect all your 3-wire strobing. So that's what we're doing here, is essentially we're going to have now strobing for the Magic Strobes on all the other 3-wire lights, and this is going to control the amber lights. So it's actually not that difficult. It just looks it with here, so I'm trying to simplify it as much as possible. You're going to end up with one extra male harness, and that is completely normal. So before I showed you this side to the right of the Magic Strobes, which plugged into my sequential turn signals, which plugged into the Y harness. Now on the other side of the Magic Strobes, all you're going to do is, because I have like 5 or 6 different harnesses, I'm just going to plug the male into the female, just keep piggybacking all the different harnesses I have until I get to the end. Now when I get to the end, let's see, I already lost it. I lost it. Where the heck is it? My open one, there it is right there. You're going to have that open one. And because you have an open one, and the reason is because of that Y harness, and it already has the 2 males, so you're going to have an extra male, so just tuck it in if you want to put tape around it or anything. Once I clean all this up, it'll look a lot better. Okay, so the next step we're going to do in this cluster that I have right here is we're going to decide which pattern we want to do. And here's something really cool. If now you want to get creative, I'm not saying everybody has to do this, but I'll show you guys for demonstration purposes. You can actually have 2 different sets of strobing patterns, right? It's pretty cool. So this one, as we said, controls the 4-wire, and this is going to control your 3-wire strobe. So in essence, if like right now they're both hooked up to pattern 6, which is a Blaster X, but if I want to put this, let's say the smart one on Blaster X, and then I want to put this one on like whatever you choose, like 5, 4, 3, whatever pattern you want to do, you could do that. Because I'm easily entertained and I want to show you guys, I'm actually going to do 1 or 2 for you and show you the differences of how they come out. And after that, what I'll do, I'll show you how it all came out. I'll give you an example of the amber turn signals, and then I didn't mention this earlier, but the amber, it will turn amber once you put the hazards on too. So let's do this, wrap this up, and I'll show you guys some of the different features of this new smart module. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with the new look of the amber turn signals, and with the addition of the smart module. It really makes a statement. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Obviously, I want to thank Custom Dynamics for another great product to light up this bike. I love that they stand behind the products with a lifetime guarantee, and honestly, they're just freaking super great people there. So hopefully this video was helpful. Now get out there and ride, be well, and I'll talk to you guys soon.